Meeting starts here. We always, at this time, before we start, we're going to change up some things tonight. We got such a lot of crap here tonight, so we'll keep everything peaceful and orderly and try to figure out what's going on, what's being presented tonight. A few questions, but this is not a public hearing. We're not having a debate. This is not a debate or anything. It's just a lot of concerned citizens here learn about the RV parks you can put on the turn potential to put on the turn point. While everybody's here, and there'll be a few questions that we can try to answer for the best we can for some more folks. That's why the large crowd's here tonight. But it's not a public hearing, anything like that nature, like we have into the process. But this time, I always take prayer requests for folks. So does anybody have any prayer requests at this time?
I remember me, I've got a patient, I've got a heart monitor on right now, and they're talking about wanting to put in a patient. My wife, she's going to have no
Remember the Brooks family? She passed away last Wednesday. She made us over there all her life. She's 89 years of age. Remember her family. Remember Miss Loki? She passed away last Wednesday at the age of 99. She was on the first truckload of kids that crossed the toll bridge. And she was the last civilian to cross it before they tore it down. And she lived to be 99 years of age. And passed away last week. They had her service today, so remember that thing. Anybody else have any prayer requests?
Keep Gerald Thomas in your prayers.
Gerald Thomas. Remember that. Anybody have any prayer requests? Remember us up here tonight. Remember our servicemen and women who serve this country. I'm sure there's several in this room tonight, past, present, future. We can't do what we do here tonight. The freedom we have in speech wasn't for that price that's been paid by everybody that's wore a uniform. Thank you for that. I appreciate your service to this country. Remember the homeless. Some choose that life, some do not. I wish we didn't have at least one homeless veteran out there on the streets, but we do. So remember those. Remember our churches in our community. Anybody else have anything on that line?
First responders.
Remember all the first responders. Remember the mass shootings that's been happening throughout the country in the last months. I believe I saw somebody out there. Remember that. Remember our country's up there. Anybody else have any prayer requests?
I remember friend of mine, Billy Dane, he went for a spin up and round up and held over her surgery.
Billy Dane. Anybody else have any prayer requests? All right, if you got a hat on, you take it off, please, and put it out there.
Father, Lord, we come to you tonight and thank you, Lord, for another day. We thank you for the focus showed up tonight to show their support. We pray, Heavenly Father, Lord, that you would help us to make the right decisions for our citizens and our community, Lord. And all these prayer requests that's been made known tonight, Lord, your will be done there. And we give you the praise and honor. We ask in your name. Amen.
Motion to accept the previous minutes.
I'll make a motion.
For your second. All in favor saying aye. Aye. Previous minutes have passed. All right, what we're going to do tonight, a little different, like I said. So, the Turner family is here tonight. I'm sure what everybody's here for. Learn more and understand about the potential of RV park being put on the property, the Turner farm in that area. Find out a little more about it. So at this time, and Miss Amy had called me last Saturday and asked if she'd have some time put on the agenda to speak. And there's a couple of fellows with her that wants to do a little presentation. I told them I'd give about 10 or 15 minutes here to do that. If you got any questions, maybe could be answered. So at this time, Amy, you or who wants to take the first floor?
I'm the one that manages the farm at present for our family. And of course, our dad, a lot of people know who Papa was and is to us. And we all inherited this farm with him that he bought it back in 1970. So it's been in our family all these years. And none of us really can afford to buy the other one out. And we put it on the property to kind of dissolve the partnership and to do something else with it. And he cared so much about this community in South Pittsburgh and Green County. You didn't know him, I'm sorry you didn't know him, but he was very proud of helping other people. And he helped so many people that I don't even know who all he's helped, but I know that was just the kind of person he was. And so we have had our farm on the market for 2 years. We listed it with Raines Company and Dan Thornton is our realtor that we've dealt with. No association with Thunder Thornton, totally different. He's a good friend of mine. I've worked years with his wife at TDA. And so we talked to Danny a couple of years ago because we felt the need to sell it. So with that, we've had a good bit of interest in it from all sectors, all kinds of things. And the one that we have gotten contract with and we've been trying to move forward on and bring it to Marion County is the upscale RV park. And we have one of the developers here with us tonight, Aaron Hillman, that came in from Arizona. And his company is the one that wants to buy and develop this along the same lines that they have in Arizona and they're in Savannah, Georgia, and was it Hilton Head as well, or just Savannah?
It's actually right between Savannah and Hilton.
Okay, it's in between. I knew I had both of those in my mind. But looking at doing something like that with the RV industry, because RVs have, during COVID, they particularly went up in demand. It's a way of life for many people that travel when they retire, or it's becoming a way of life for a lot of people. So it's affordable for, not for everybody, but more affordable than a $1 million home that you might put over there, or 2 or 3 of them, and sell to the very few people that would attract very few people. So with that, I'm not going to take up a lot of the time because I want Aaron to speak to what his project is and the benefits of it, and help us all understand more what we're proposing. Aaron?
My name is Aaron Hillman. I work for Renting Development and Construction based in Phoenix, Arizona. I'm not from California, as I stated. I was actually born and raised in a small community in Michigan, and I've lived in Arizona for the last 25 years. When we look for a property, and right now, this is truly just an idea. We have not submitted anything formally to the city, the county, anybody. All we've done is a couple weeks ago, we came, viewed the property along with many others in this region, and we really like what we saw here, and we feel it fits a lot of our kind of checklist of what we look for in a high-end RV resort. The resorts we develop are nightly for rent. There are no, you cannot live there full time. There are minimum and maximum lengths of stay. And we can get into the specifics of the plan. We are catered to a higher end in our price point, as well as in the people that come and stay there. Hence the fact that you can only stay so long, you cannot live there. Everything is fully for rent. There is no own slips in any of our developments so far. And what we feel like with the new home resort is, I can walk you through a little bit. And again, this is really just on paper, an idea at this point. We have nothing fully submitted or engineered. This is literally just a diagram for us when we start to look at a piece of land and what, if it can, and will it be, and can we proceed with it. So this layout here, typical to a lot of our farms. It's focused around a central clubhouse, which is further down towards the water, an access road, a check-in store, and sundries, which will have small little sundry area to buy supplies and things like that. And then as you come into the site, we have varying levels of sizes and types of RV spaces. It's just like going to a resort. You can have your 1 bedroom, your 2 bedroom, and depending upon what you need for your site is what we can provide. Also with this, all of our resorts, we do full sets of amenities with dog parks, pools, pickleball, other outdoor recreation activities, horseshoes, bocce lawns, as well as at the main clubhouse, certain areas will have multiple hot tubs. There are no cooking facilities. We don't do kitchens. We do catering kitchens. But there will be no restaurant on site. At least we haven't done that so far. And we feel like the way that the property sits with the river running right here and the property line coming around, it kind of, as you can see, when you, especially because of the great topography of coming over the bridge, you see the wooded tree and wetland areas that cut through, and it kind of acts as a good break for weaving this in through the existing farmland and not just blading everything and building a full flat RV park. Our goal, and as we show here, right now in the initial feasibility, was to have 250 RV spaces in the initial phase, which is essentially from this point down. This point up, again, it all depends upon how the numbers start working out. Initially, right now, we're looking at 250, which really is the piece from the far woods backside of this all the way down to the water. Right now, we have no plans with the rest of the site, nor the site this side would not take, would not be viable if you were to develop this whole property. We're really only looking at the lower section in the 400 range at the far end of the rainbow, if it happens that far. I have plenty of other slideshows, videos, I can show images of our other projects that we put together, but if you have specific questions, I understand, the fear of being in a small town and what the news article kind of had, just unknown and unsure. And we don't have answers for you at all that because we haven't really gone past the idea portion. We're not into, let's submit for rezone, let's look at this, we're going to do this. We're still checking all the feasibility boxes. And one of the feasibility boxes is being good neighbors, and we definitely don't want to come to a community that we're not wanted either. So, with that, if there's any specific questions anybody has or interest.
Could you speak to the revenue that you might generate with this?
Right now, on the numbers at 250 spaces, you're looking at probably somewhere in the 12 months to stabilize those 250. Obviously, there will be a transient nature, off-season, on-season. We're looking at probably somewhere in the range of, at 250, we were at right around 2.6 million, what we estimate.
And you know what that would mean to the city of Nebo as well?
I do, and that part of it is depending upon the legislation is right now your tax rate's at 9.75, and that includes state, county, and New Hope. Now, typical with all of our resorts, there's also a hospitality tax, and that's based on the cities, the individual. It averages about 3%. So if there's a 3% tax that's levied in New Hope, that'd be about $80,000 a year. And that's at 250 spaces. Obviously, if it doubles, you go into the 400, then going up from that. That doesn't include your sales tax revenue for everything that's sold on the property as well, which then just keeps raising that lot.
Property tax wise, what is Marion County?
Correct.
Do you have a number?
We have not run our property tax number yet.
The 3% you're talking about, this overnight stay, doesn't that go to the county?
It is different in every municipality, so it all depends upon how it's structured here. New Hope can have a city tax. It's all just kind of line itemed out when you go places. Many places, when you look at your hospitality tax, if they line item that for you on a resort you go to, county, state, county, city. I mean, so all of those are negotiables that just gets passed on to the overnight.
So this is just, it's like a campsite, like Nickajack or Marion County.
We went to those. We provide a level that's, we go above, we would try to hit above that. We're trying to search for the people that are willing to spend the $60 range was thrown out in the article. That's not necessarily true. Your $60 would be probably close to an off-season rate when nobody's going to be, at full capacity. We tend to hit the 90 to 120 plus during peak season. And so with that, we do fully improved sites. There's no just loose gravel or grass parking areas, fully paved roads. There's some concrete space, and then we'll have very, every site will have sewer, water, electric. Some of the campgrounds around here, I know they have the portable sewage tanks that get pumped. That's not something we provide.
The area next to the river, I'm assuming you're going to have the boat landing signs.
We have a pre-conversation right now. We do not have any, there is that small boat slip that's there. We do not anticipate using that whatsoever from the standpoint of there's the beautiful public dock that's, right on the other side of the water. Our goal is more along the bottom river to have that for people to launch kayaks, rowboats, stand-up paddleboarding, small things like that to get out on the river.
I have a question about your location, or picking the location. Most of them I've run across around the nation. I don't go into that, how I run into some of them some years ago, but I've seen. They're usually located around attractions and where people can park there and they can go out to this one, then they'll go out to this one, and then they do that as they're there. What is the attraction to keep them coming in here as you're talking about it, what you're putting forth there?
Sure. I feel like in order for us to make this, we feel you have all of those boxes checked with things around here. The outdoor sports, the river, heritage tourism in the area is huge. You have the lodge. You have a lot of things here that definitely fit all of those boxes. And as we've kind of run this up the flagpole internally and looking at it, I feel like there's no shortage of draw to this area whatsoever.
Well, we have had it for a number of years, and a lot of that, the outdoorsy stuff and everything, that attracts a certain percentage of the people.
Sure.
And what I've seen, the big motor homes and things don't go to there unless they're going to Yellowstone or somewhere like that, is what they get into. These things that we have are the people that are staying in the existing campgrounds around here, that they're the ones that come in, I guess. They're the ones that come in.
No, and I understand that. What we've seen in the properties we've developed, a little bit, Savannah Hilton Head is more of what you're talking about. But even looking at, we've got a property that's getting ready to open in Palm Springs, that's outside of Palm Springs. We've got another one that's on the Colorado River in Blythe, Ehrenberg, and really that one has almost nothing, and it's starting to fill up faster. We're feeling that...
Well, those names you mentioned there, Palm Springs, Colorado River, that's a draw anyhow. There's already draws all around those.
Right.
So that's just somewhere else for it to lead off into.
Ehrenberg's probably a way smaller town than New Hope is, and we're seeing it there as a draw. It has a river. I mean, it has a river element in New Hope as well. We're also seeing corridors across the United States of highway travel and where people are planning to move. And east to west, we're going to take 9 weeks, and we're going to go from ocean to ocean, things like that. We feel like we have that visibility here as well. And so that's what's going to kind of help move it through there's obviously going to be peak, half peak, and off season in a location like this.
I believe there's more off-season than there is peak season.
Okay.
We don't have that much attraction around here. We're too far away.
Understood, but people that are coming to RV resorts aren't necessarily always looking for attraction. Sometimes the resort itself is the attraction.
You look at a lot of people who rent these grass cabins out here on Sand Mountain. People bring their families out there and rent a grass cabin, and they'll spend a week in Chattanooga.
Sure.
Checking out different things in there.
Well, what kind
Of advertising, do you affiliated with, I've never heard of it.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, understood.
Affiliated with
Yes.
Disney World, do you go through something about the nationwide campus?
Right. So the operations wing that operates all the resorts that we've done so far is called Contemporary Resorts and Residences, CRR Lifestyles. The resort in Camp Verde just won the National RV Association Park of the Year. And so we pull a lot through the internal advertising as well as the trade publications and people that are doing this, throughout as a way of life or a way of travel that, get their news and information from the different parks. And so obviously that's a channel we advertise through that.
Who's responsible for the security and the security for everybody here?
Understood. So typically it is roughly a 30-person deployment that we see at all of our parks. And with that, there will be 24-hour security. There'll be on-site private security as well as full video surveillance. We have crime statistics from our other, we've never had, knock on wood, any major crime that's ever been committed or had, or complaints from neighbors on noise. I'm happy to provide also references to other city mayors and, economic development and just general planning in other cities that we've done, and you can check up on how we operate.
Do the gates lock?
What's that?
Do the gates lock?
Again, vary by community. This one will probably be a gated community. Some, based on location style, we don't gate, but yes. The general store is typically a 9 to 6. The pool area and the main clubhouse building is typically open until 8 or 9 p.m. depending if there's what they're doing that night. And then the entire park will shut down right about that 9, 10 o'clock range. So the only way you can get in is digitally or, however they do the key, and it's different in every location.
I have a question. So that little boat dock that you're talking about, that's right across from our business and our home. And where is the entrance into the mobile park?
Right now, we haven't done a traffic study. We haven't done anything like that. So from the initial look at this, from a standpoint of entrance, was keeping the main entrance across from the main drive at Lodge.
The lodge is probably down there.
The main road right here, and then here's the pull into their warehouse distribution center right there.
So here's the house, on that from that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all that down in the bottom is all the lower area.
Correct. So really the 250 sites is going to be the lowest sites that intermix between.
Yeah, where it flows. So you're gonna spend $30 million worth of dirt put in there to bring that up.
Understood. Again, we haven't got through the floodplain survey yet, so it's in process.
And we can tell you it flooded.
When I was there, it's definitely flooded. One of the things we noticed is the dam down here is just fully packed and it's not flooded. It's been the beavers.
It don't make no difference about that dam when the river floods.
Oh, understood. Yeah.
That's not at all.
Again, and it's something we're still looking at with our engineering. Obviously,
PBA has certain regulations, and they will be looking at it and permitting it. And they allow RV parks to be built within the PBA region. They're not against.
there'll be a 100-year and a 500-year, and so we'll have to get into that once we get our actual full survey done.
You're saying the revenue that New Hope's going to get from that, it's going to cost us that for another officer in our fire department?
I mean, if there's a need for another officer, I think what we can show you through our facts and figures, we don't get calls to our resorts.
The sell alcohol.
Sometimes, depending on municipality, in the check-in store, you may be able to buy it. It's really 50-50. And if it's not needed or we can't get it through the county or whoever the liquor board is, then we just don't provide it.
You can buy it right down at the dollar store.
Some of it.
It's paid from this facility to the county or to the city. That's what the people have been hoping to get.
The new one would get any city hospitality tax that is passed and in place, as well as right now your current city tax rate that you get when you go to the Dollar General and buy $10 and that percentage feeds back to the city. That revenue would still be in place.
Yes.
So my career, you just said 80 grand plus whatever you sell at that store, that's what you all get, right? On the first 250 is your ballpark.
Right, somewhere in that range.
No, wait a minute, hold up. That's
fully estimated cost.
Wait a minute, hold up. That's incorrect. We get a percentage, a very small percentage, that goes through the county, and then it trickles down to the cities. 80,000 is not what the city gets. It's cut off pieces before it gets to the city.
So we're part of the smallest part of the pie.
Yeah, we got to put it up. It's a percentage. That's what make that clear. It's not the 9.75%. That's a cycle. When it gets to us, it's very low.
It's just I had to cut through the top. You know, I thought we were getting 80,000. I still feel low as a city for us having to put up with it here. You know?
They're not going to keep coming.
Hey, hold up, just a minute. I don't want to start that. You got to, let's just answer the question, please. Let's just be real. You know, go ahead, Ms. Rick. Thank y'all.
How old is the oldest resort that you've been involved with in recent location?
Camp Verde, Arizona is our largest, or oldest resort, I should say. Won't be the largest, but right now it will be our oldest, and that one will be about 7.5 years now.
And recent
In Camp Verde, Arizona. That was the one that just won.
What is the name?
RV Report of the Year.
What is the name of it?
Camp Verde.
Camp Verde. If you go to the CRR Lifestyle website, you'll be able to pull all the parks and the parks that are in progress.
Eric, if you don't care, give them the website so they can, I mean, just,
Yeah, CRRlifestyle.com. Yeah.
One question.
We've heard why you think you might want to be here. Why do we want you to be here?
I mean, well, revenue, jobs, construction. We do not bring national contractors across to travel. We use all local construction for all of our parks. We'll use as much local anything that we can provide. Like I said, there's about 30 jobs involved with it, as well as just added hospitality in an area right now.
What have you seen the property values in places you've built?
We've actually gone up, and it has not been a contraction. Again, we have a worksheet I can provide as well when we get further into the details of that, but pretty much everywhere we go, we understand.
Nancy got a question.
I just want to know the difference, like right now it's zoned as farmland or agriculture. If this happens, it has to be zoned as commercial.
That's correct. Yeah,
What's the difference in that tax rate, the increase in your property, your city property tax that you're going to get on top of this?
It's assessed at 25% of the appraised value for residential or agricultural and 40% commercial.
So that would be a pretty large property tax.
Well, once again, let's go down. It breaks down.
We pay city taxes as well as county.
But
You would have an increase in your city property taxes is what I'm saying.
city property tax is set at a certain rate. That's what you pay.
That 25, 40 top tax rate, it's just a weird thing about property taxes. Instead of the rate applied to 100% of the value, residential, agricultural, it's 25% of the value, commercial 40. And then the tax rate.
That's assessment.
Right.
In line with what she just said, there'll be rollback taxes due to the fact that you're changing from agricultural to commercial. Have y'all discussed who's gonna pay those, and will you won't get any of that?
No, no.
Just the county?
Yeah.
That's the county.
Yeah, I wanted to come to the meeting. I'm retired, got a big motor home, we travel, my wife and I travel the country. And when I heard this resort was being discussed, I know they hadn't done a proposal yet. We've been to campgrounds, we've been to resorts, and there's no comparison. We've been and we've stayed 2 or 3 nights, and then we stay another 3 nights because it's so nice. Marion County Park over here is a great campground, and there's a couple more around here, great campground, but they're not at this level. Resorts are set up for, a lot of people won't go to a campground, but they'll go to a resort because they've got a $1 million bus. They always carry cars with them. They're traveling, you know. We've driven 30, 40 miles to go see, you know, Red Lodge, Arizona, and different places outside of our campground, from Cody, Wyoming, or whether it was, I mean, driving to a resort area to look at, you know, Chattanooga, and Chattanooga is a very, very popular destination for RV. The last 5 or 6 years has been crazy. But we've been to these resorts that he's proposing, and don't let an RV campground get in the way of what these resorts are, because they really are high end, and they're really are high end. And we now look for the resort before we actually look for a campsite. So, and sometimes they're not available, and they are more expensive. They're $100, $120, $180 we pay, and but they're well worth it. They're secure, they're fenced in, they're really, really a positive for the area. And I just say that simply because, you know, I'd like to see New Hope take advantage of something like that, because it would bring people here. It's going to bring people here that normally wouldn't pull in here and go to Marion County Campground. Now, although it's a nice campground, but they're not going to pull off the highway, stay 2 days, and then travel on to Nashville or whatever. Most of the people that travel in RVs are traveling for 2 or 3 night stays. They're not long-term, they're not living there, they're not, you know, if I understand this resort like any of the other ones, you know, maybe a week you'll get out of them, but they're not what you've experienced at campgrounds in the past. And I think we've all experienced that in the past. But these are very, very well done, and, you know, and again, it's up to the city and to the mayor and the councilman, but if they can make it work, it would be a positive thing for them.
Don't the RV parks, generally when you go, a lot of times the RV person takes a car with their RV. So they're not riding around these little roads in their RV. They're riding around in probably a smaller car that they throw on to go to Chattanooga.
We carry a car with us.
Or go to Nashville, or go to Memphis, or go to Jack Daniels. I think they're not valuing the things that are available in the Tennessee area to people. Maybe it's because it's sometimes when you live somewhere for so long, you don't see the potential of it. But it's not just New Hope, it's the state, and it's, like Mike said, Chattanooga is a very desirable location. There's lots to do there. Plenty to do in Nashville if people want to come for all the concerts and the music. And I would think it would be very attractive to people that do that. And there's lots of people that do that. And it's not the initial investment in an RV. It's not a pocket change. I mean, it's like what would you say to
resorts, and I've been to probably 8, from Key West to Hilton Head to Arizona to Colorado. I mean, every time I roll in there, I mean, they're $1 million home motorhomes that won't go to another campground. Number one, that may be too long because of the state park. But they're $1 million, and then there had 2 down in Destin, Florida this last winter, had 2 pull up sides on both sides of me, and they were $2.4 million a piece. And I'm telling them, they were from California, I told them, welcome to America. But anyway, but I'm just saying, these, the people that look for a resort and go to a resort aren't your typical entry-level RVers. They're driving $500 to $2 million buses. And
So you're saying there's a good potential that these people will get out and spend money around?
they have money. They bought $1 million bus, and they've got a $100,000 Escalade that they pull behind. I experienced that in Florida.
Hold it.
I'm just saying, they are people that are traveling, they have the money, and they're spending their money.
Here won't go with that. Here more questions. We've got 2 more questions, and we're gonna move forward.
I live on that road. I gotta pull out every day and pull into that and look at it every day. Besides that, you're gonna flood me out because you ain't been here for this, and I don't see how you're gonna get that water out. You talk about cutting that hill off stuff, flattening all that out. What's gonna happen to me right there in that hole?
Yeah, anything that we would do, even grading wise, would have to be approved through the TVA that even does in place. So again, this is really preliminary. We haven't done the survey. We haven't done the water survey. We don't have the floodplain designation as of yet. In other places that we have RVs, we can have RV parking slips in floodplain zones, but just certain floodplain zones.
So my house ain't an RV park, it's a house.
I understand. Well, we've also
I gotta look at it every day when I pull it.
Just because it gets approved that it's not in flood zone around doesn't necessarily make it true, because all this development on these mountains is already started sliding off, and that is approved.
Kim, you had your hand up back there real quick.
Yes. What's the procedure? I mean, I realize you're saying it's a resort and it attracts a different type of people. But what is the procedure to make sure that only 10-year-old and above pulls into this resort and somebody doesn't apply online and pull in under 72 because it is?
So if you go to the website and you go to book at any one of the other communities, you have to have a 10-year or newer RV. That's just kind of standard operating procedure for any resort. And so that helps. You also have to check in when you get there. You'll be subject to a small inspection when they look at it. They want to make sure that you're not. But again, it's just like going in. You can't just drive through with an old jalopy of an RV. So.
Well, a lot of the places when I make a reservation, if it's closer to 10 years, they require us to send pictures.
Submit photos, correct.
Can I say something to help them positive? Okay, I've been where these people are. You got all this land and no money to live, and you're getting old, and you need to turn it into some cash. You're not able to do what your parents did. You can't carry on the next generation. They're going to sell their property. So the county's going to market it as industrial, or they're going to sell it as residential, and you're going to have a Jasper Highlands over there. We don't want a Jasper Highlands over there. Those people are crazy. We really don't want them here. So just think about what their options are for getting what they need for their life to live out the rest of their life. And if you were in that position, what you would want to do. They're going to sell it to somebody. It can't stay agricultural. Nobody's going to buy it for a farm. Farms are not making any money today. So just think about your options. This is not a bad option. I came here because I want to make sure that the truth is told about the benefits and view of it. I don't see a lot of that. But to the benefits of these people and the harm that's not going to happen by you looking out your window and seeing a Chinese battery factory instead of a motor home. Because that could happen.
A chicken plant, you know?
Yeah, a chicken plant. It could be worse.
There's a lot of other options.
If you go forward and sell it, and it does not meet your expectations, what will keep it on that high end and not take it on a low end? Will it be the rules that this body of people?
We try to be very conservative with our vacancy rate, and so with the actual investment, the land, and the we're on the low end of, this isn't something, we need to be at 100%, otherwise this doesn't work. We haven't sold an RV park yet, and we have no intention of selling an RV park. We look at these as long-term assets. So even if, like, everything has a bump in the road at a certain point, but when you factor that over a group of developments, sometimes one is better than another. So that's, really, there are no plans to sell or just stop it.
How's this going to affect our traffic, and who's going to do the road repair with these big RVs, toting cars running across that thing?
Right, so
Go to Macedonia.
There's about a quarter mile where we anticipate the entry roughly to the bridge. Also with this, in order for us to move forward as part of the act, we have to do a full traffic study. If there's improvements that need to be done now, turn lanes, decel lanes, that'll all be done as part of this.
Go ahead, Tim, he's your first, go ahead, Tim, if you got something.
And your other developments, how wide are the roads? And over there, we have no water. Are you gonna put in hydrants or we can?
We've done a couple different scenarios, and again, we'll get into that for the engineering. Typically, our roads are 30 feet across for their entire development, because not only do we have to get fire trucks, but also people driving the RVs in and out as well. We typically do, the majority of our spaces are pull-throughs. Really only the perimeter has a back end for smaller travel trailer parking. And then we've done multiple systems with dry hydrants before, where we have, a pumping facility if there was, a pond element. So, yes, we fully anticipate whatever we have to do in order to get that. Again, that's one of these unchecked boxes of things we haven't even gotten to the point of doing yet. So,
we're gonna hold up. I got a quick question for you. You tell me about, did y'all buy some property over Dick called Red Moon? Or named it Red Moon? Is that correct?
There was
There was y'all part of that.
There was a property that Brad was looking at over there, the piece that slopes up into the mountains there is a heavily sloped area that we looked at. We've been looking in this area for a long time.
But maybe y'all purchased it.
We did I don't know how far it went, whether it went through the LGR.
Did you buy it?
I don't know. That one I don't know. We didn't buy it recently, I'll say.
No, I don't know about recently. Sometime back.
I'd have to pull the development agreement to see if it even went past the agreement phase.
Okay, I didn't know something happened to raise it. What happened to get development?
We did the original survey on that, and I know I didn't work on that project, so I can't give you the full extent of how far we're in development. There's a lot of times we get into LOIs and agreements with landowners. We do our due diligence, like we're talking about, we haven't even done on this property yet, and there'll be things in there. Sometimes municipalities, sometimes, fire, and there's certain things that just kill the deal. And so that's when we make it past in through the rezoning and title spec.
We're going to close this part of it. We're going to take about 5 minutes, please,